friends, it's Amanda with Mettle Modern Design coming to you on behalf of Essential Stencil tonight. So I have angled you down. We'll get as much of this board in as we can. I'm going to tell you a secret. I found these boards on clearance at Hobby Lobby. I've never bought boards like this at Hobby Lobby before. I typically shop these at Lowe's. So we're going to start with this green color. It is botanical, and I do love this color. This is a min-waxed water-based tintable stain. I get tinted at the paint counter at Lowe's. So I'm just going to dip in, and we're just going to start staining this up. Now this had a kind of a green line there. Since I'm staining it green, I didn't worry about it too much. Some Babyloon. I'm just going to come in here. This is going to be the bottom, and I'm just going to kind of swirl this color in. Okay, so take the spritzer of water. We're just going to spritz down. This works because this is water-based stain. This would not work for oil-based stain. And so I'm just going to blend in here. And do you see kind of how it looks very coastal-y? Kind of a coastal blend now. So we can just go back and forth a little bit, blending our color. It doesn't have to be a straight line. You can kind of do it up one side a little bit. Let's do a little more mister. I'm just kind of lightly shading this all in. Working this back and forth. We just want the line to be subtle where the transition is. We want it to transition, but we don't even really want to be able to pick out a point where the transition happened. My sanding sponge. We're gonna sand back down any grain rays, and we're gonna start with the snowman. Okay. Pull out some white paint, a little more white paint. Okay, I am going to use some tape. So we're just going to do a light swirl here. Just going to kind of come back over the whole thing, anything that looks a little light. So pretty. Okay, so this is kind of what we're working with so far. I want to use It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. Okay, so we're just going to come on and do It's the Most, and if we need to tape anything off, we can. If we're afraid that we're going to go over that little line, we can tape it off. Okay, so lift it. So we've got It's the Most. Okay, looks pretty good. We'll lift it and see the gap. Do you see the gap right there? We'll come back and work on that in just a minute. And I'm just going to try to continue this line. Of course, it will not be perfect. Okay, so again, we're going to check the back of our stencil and make sure we don't see any paint on it. I'm going to remove the tape from time of the year because that's what we're going to stencil at top of here now. I could have put some tape over this, but that's okay, we got it. Time of, and then we got to do the year. We just got to retape. Okay, grab our white paint. Okay, so I know it's hard to see the words because we can't reverse the thing right now. I'll have to take you a picture. But we've got the snowman, and it says it's the most wonderful time of the year, and this up here's the top. And so here's how I'm envisioning finishing this out. So we're going to do a couple of snowflakes. We can actually pull our snowman that's right here. Do you see he's got some snowflakes inside him? So we can just lay him down and stencil on a couple of the snow. I'm going to get a smaller brush though because that one's a little big. But I'm also going to use some seashells. And I'm going to create a couple of, maybe 3 snowflakes out of seashells. So I'm just going to use some E6000, and I'm just really going for it. Maybe I should put this down and then come back and glue it. So let me angle this down so you can see. I'm just going to use some snowflakes, and I'm just going to kind of start this kind of like this. You know, snowflakes are supposed to be symmetrical, so I'll use 6 seashells. Not always just coastal. I'm going to cap that E6000 real quick. I got a little glue booger right there, so I'm just going to wipe that up. Okay. I love to craft with a Clorox wipe next to me, let me tell you. You never know when you're going to need it. Okay. So, let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. I just kind of arranged it. Then I'm just going to grab my E6000. I'm just going to kind of put it on the high areas of this shell here, and I'll set it down. So far, do you see our seashell? I just love these shells. They're so delicate. It's a sliced shell. This is just a center slice from a different type of shell. That's our last one. So let's get it in there. We could come back and add another stenciled snowflake now that I kind of see what kind of space we have. So I'm just going to grab my little stencil brush, grab a little white paint, just stencil on another snowflake just to fill in any gaps. And this stencil is pretty cool because it's got just some little dots. Like, I know, how hard would it be to do some dots? Shockingly, it's harder than one would imagine to freehand things when you're me, anyway. So I'm just going to put a couple of those dots on there because I think they're fun. Now, the one last thing I would say you could do to finish this out will be incredibly difficult for me to show you right now, but I'm going to do my best to try. This one is a little dry, but we're going to try to use this one. I'm just going to try to re-moisten it with a little bit of paint. So I've just got a little paint on this brush. I'm just going to try to position this kind of off down the wall here. And so if you want just a little hazing, you can take some white stain and create that, or you can take your paintbrush and you can just brush in some white. It's going to add a little age, a little white dimension to this piece, kind of giving another little element. So I'm just going to take my grippier sanding sponge that I get from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to sand over the whole word. So it just looks a little imperfect. I can even grab my finer sander and just come over that, and then the words just look a little more rugged than that's expected, and so it just kind of creates a whole cohesive theme when you do that. So you guys have a fantastic night, and I will see you real soon. Okay, bye friends.